With Multiversus now having been removed from game stores for download, and of course it is now being taken offline for the rest of 2023, during the last week of Multiversus being online, known as Multiversus Appreciation Week, I decided to do my own test, if you will. So I'm a numbers kind of guy. I like data. I like gathering that sort of stuff. Maybe it doesn't make sense to other people, but for some reason I absolutely love it. So I decided to do one final test. So for this test, I played my final 100 1v1 matches. Now, to be clear, I consider matches as a best of 3. Or in some cases, I might win game 1, then my opponent does not give me the rematch. I still count that as a best of 3 overall. So some stats you will see in this video will actually exceed 100 games played. Now, when I say games, I mean individual games. So a best of 3, if you do all 3 games, there's 3 individual games, but it's only 1 match in the end. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Either way, enough blabbering. Let's get to the point in the stats, the data that this video is going to provide. Up first, my overall record, and then a breakdown of the players that I came across and what platform they played on. So as you can see, matches, best of 3 out of 100. I actually won 73 of my matches and lost 27. I think that's actually a pretty decent record. I don't know if anyone else recorded stats like this. I doubt it, but 73 seems kind of good, at least, I think, in my opinion. But either way, PlayStation players, the amount that I came across, 52. That was the highest number of players on a specific platform. PlayStation won that one, but then Xbox players, 21 of them, and then Steam or PC players, I came across 27 of those. But ultimately, 73 and 27. That's not too bad for 100 matches, I'd say. What is it? That's like 73% winning percentage. That's like a C minus or a C. I'll take that all day. Next up, I decided to jot down the amount of time it took me to get into or find a match, I should say, aka a queue time. So up first, queue time of 1 to 10 seconds. 71 of my matches happened almost instantly, like there's practically no waiting time, so that's pretty good. Queue time of 11 to 20 seconds took me 26 times. 26 of my matches happened to take between 11 to 20 seconds, and then a queue time of 21 seconds or longer only happened 3 times. So yes, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the game did get taken off stores for download, but the people that still had it, or the people that I came across, we were still getting into games very quickly, like almost no downtime, just boom, 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 ready to go into the next match. So that was pretty cool. Didn't have to wait, just got to keep playing like we all want to do. And then one of my more anticipated stats that I was going to record was the number of times my opponent toasted me at the end. Now, anybody want to guess how many times I got toasted at the end of a match? Feel free to jot down whatever you think your answer is down in the comments. But out of 100 matches, the amount of times that I got toasted by my opponent, and I promise, I toasted every single person. Why would I need to hoard toast? I have like 500 toast still left over. I have so much. I wish I could have toasted 5 times to every player, but I couldn't. But the amount of times that I got toasted back out of 100 matches, 17 times. 17 people toasted me back. Why? We don't need to hoard the toast. Come on, people. Who cares if you win or lose? Just toast me back. You get gold for it. Like, come on. So this one is a little disappointing overall, but 17 times opponent toasted me back. Now I recorded the amount of individual perks, or the top 3. I wish I would have done all of them. I should have done all of them, but ultimately I didn't. So the top 3 most individual perks that I came across for individual games. The number 1 perk, anybody have a guess? By the way, number 1 perk that you came across, not the character unique perks, but the smaller perks that any character can use, the secondary ones. If you have a guess, put that in the comments. But either way, the number 1 most used secondary perk, triple jump. 34 individual games, or individual players, I guess you could say, use this. Now, if I didn't record, if I faced the same, say, Superman, and Superman hit a triple jump in game 1 and game 2, and then the match was over after that, I did not duplicate those results. So if you use the exact same perk build, if you would have switched characters, I would have jotted this down. So I'm trying to make this clear. But if I face Superman with perk A, B, and C in game 1, and then Superman with perk A, B, and C game 2, I only collected the data for game 1 because it was essentially the exact same person. So I didn't duplicate anything that people just kept from game 1 to game 2. Hopefully that makes sense. Now for the second most used perk that I came across. The one, I forget the name of it, but it's the one where you ignite the enemy, like you shoot them or hit them with a projectile, and then you have to go up and physically attack them, and then you ignite them for, 1 or 2 seconds, whatever, and you deal a little bit of extra damage. This was the second most used perk that I came across, and the third out of top 3 most used perks that I came across. This one, I'm not surprised, but this perk is absolutely terrible, and everything that's related to it is terrible. Needs some pretty big buffs. But the perk that I came across, the third most, the grounded melee attack increased damage. Any perk that does that increases just by 5%. I did the math on a video months and months ago, so I'm going to spare you from watching that, but basically the math does not add up. These perks are pretty much useless for the life of a game. These need to be buffed. 5% is nothing. If it bumps up to 10%, then it will actually have a little bit of an impact in the actual game itself. So these perks are terrible, but 21 individual games. Now for the portion for individual characters. Now I just wrote down the total amount of games that I played against them and the amount of wins or losses that I had against the characters. So overall, up first, Superman, the number 1 character that I came across more than anybody else. 16 total games that I came across a Superman with a record of 11-5. Not too bad. Although I will have to say there's one Superman that I got in back-to-back matches that wiped the floor with me. I went 0-2, and then I think I went 1-2. I think I got him in one game, but overall he beat me, so I was 0-2 against that Superman. But all the other ones I came across, for the most part, I handled pretty easily, I would say. But yeah, 11-5 against the Superman, that's not bad. Next up is Morty. Morty, 13 total games that I came across him. 8-5 for a record. Actually, I think that's pretty respectable for coming across a Morty, right? Morty seems to give a lot of people some fits, but overall, I could kind of put him in his place. I played as Rick for every single one of these 100 matches that I played. So Rick had to put Morty in his place, and 8-5, I think that kind of did it. Next up is Shaggy, where he's actually the first of a few characters that I ultimately will say lost to. So 13 total games that I came across a Shaggy. I won 6 of them, but I lost 7. Something about Shaggy and he's just powerful, man. There's his side attack, flying through the air, that kick. Oh, that got me so many times. Just wasn't dodging, or I wasn't paying attention, or I was still in hit stun or something. But Shaggy, ultimately, I just lost to him. Next up is Jake. I thought this one was going to give me a little bit more of a headache, because fun fact, I started off 0-3. But, well, here's the stats first. So, Jake, total games, 13. Overall record, 7-6. So, above 500 at least, but I started 0-3 against Jake's. It wasn't looking too good. I thought I was going to throw my controller during one of the games, because no matter what I was doing, nothing was connecting. Everything was he was always just beating me to the punch. I don't know if it was a little bit of a server or maybe it was a skill issue. Could have been a combination of both or just one or the other. Next up is Harley. 12 total games that I came across a Harley. Ultimately lost. I can't figure out Harley. I don't know. The players that know how to play Harley will beat me every time. Every single time. The people that are still learning Harley and kind of have some knowledge of Harley, I can go toe-to-toe with. Ultimately, I went 5-7. Harley, I think this was my worst record in terms of win-losses, unless I'm forgetting something. We'll come across it, but ultimately, 5-7, Harley. I just can't figure him out. However, I can figure out Batman, because Batman, we found him in 9 total games, and the record was 6-3. So I guess Batman didn't have enough prep time for Rick Sanchez. Rick Sanchez just had the answers to everything. So take that, Batman. Next up is LeBron James. I thought I'd come across LeBron a little bit more than I did, but only 8 total games with a record of 5-3. So I guess LeBron went up for the dunk, and I stuffed him more than he scored on me. So I'll take that record. Next up is Bugs Bunny. This one I thought would be one of the top 2 or 3 characters that I came across the most. He wasn't. I only came across 7 Bugs Bunnies in games. 7. I ultimately went 5-2. Bugs was my very first main for this game, so I've been able to, I don't want to say study him, but I know a lot of the tricks and what to kind of look for. So Bugs was fairly easy for me to handle, and ultimately with a 5-2 record, numbers speak for itself. Next up is Finn. 7 total games of Finn that I, fought against, with only a record of 3-4. Another character that I ultimately lost against, so not too good, but I could kind of hang there. Sometimes, it's just Finn being Finn. Weird hitboxes, moves that are hitting that really shouldn't. The whole deal with Finn. Either way, not complaining. Ultimately, I lost, so gotta own up to it. Next up is Steven. 6 total games against Steven Universe. Went 4-2. There was one dude that, kind of like what I mentioned with Superman. This Steven, I think, I'm not joking, I lost, we only did the 1 match, but we did 2 games. I got beat 0-2 both, for obviously 0-2, so I lost both games. Whatever happened, he wiped the floor with me, and I was happy to be rid of that guy because I did not want to see him again, but ultimately, only a couple Stevens that I came across with a 4-2 record. Next up is Garnet. Garnet, 5 total games, record of 3-2. It's a winning record, so I guess I'll take it. Not really much to note on the Garnets. I guess lower on the list. I guess that's to be expected. You don't come across too many. I was hoping for more, but not many. Next up, Rick Sanchez. How many times did I get a mirror match? Only 4 total games. Only 4 total games. I went 3-1. So that was kind of cool, but I was hoping for some more mirror matches because I love mirror. Who doesn't love a good old mirror match every now and then? But ultimately, I was more Rick than any of them, so I'll take that any day. Next up, we are on to Taz, the Tornado of Terror. Ultimately, only 3 different games, and here's a fun fact: all 3 games were only 1 individual game. I beat each Taz in game 1, and all 3 of them did not give me the rematch in return. So ultimately, I went 3-0 against Taz in 3 separate matches. So there's that. Taz players, do you not give rematches if you lose? Why not? Wonder Woman, she's up next. Here's a character kind of like Bugs Bunny. I expected a lot more to be to play against, but only 3 games I found a Wonder Woman. Only 3. So weird, but I went 3-0 against Wonder Woman, so I will take that. I remember early days of the beta, when it very first launched last year. Oh, there were some Wonder Women that were just like, they were playing an entirely different game, and I was still trying to figure out how to plug my controller in. So I don't know, 3-0 against Wonder Woman. Yeah, I'll take that. And last but not least, yes, the last character I came across was Marvin for 1 single game, and I beat the Marvin. Not much to say. It's just kind of a, hey, back and forth a little bit. Ultimately, I beat him. Didn't get a rematch, so there's that. But yeah, those are the only characters that I came across in my final 100 matches. So we got characters like Arya Stark I didn't find. Iron Giant I didn't come across. So there's some characters that Stripe, Gizmo, didn't come across them at all, which was weird. I thought I'd come across a few Stripes at least, but nope. But anyway, that is going to be it for all the stats that I recorded for my final 100 matches. If you guys did anything similar, let me know. I'd like to know some data or something like that. But or at least answer this: did you come across any of the characters of Arya, Iron Giant, Gizmo, or Stripe? Did you come across them? Because I didn't. I don't know why. Maybe people just aren't playing them. People play Arya though, don't they? So kind of weird. Either way, that is it for this video. Probably the last Multiversus video for a while, unless some random news pops up, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, that is it. Hope you all enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you when I'm looking at you.